All right. Welcome, guys. Welcome back. We are here today with a few of the members of the GLOBUS family of brands team. We have Mitch, Lexi, and Issy. So welcome, guys. Probably pretty well known in the industry, no doubt, but there's a few people out there that don't know who you are. So if you could introduce yourselves, give us a little bit of a backstory on what you've done and where you're at the moment, and we'll crack on.
Brilliant. Should I take it away then?
Go.
Alrighty. So my name is Alexa and I'm the Regional Sales Manager for New South Wales and ACT. I've been in the travel industry for just shy of 6 years now. So started out, well, actually the travel bug hit me pretty hard. I wasn't actually planning on working in travel, but coming back from a trip, I decided that was the industry that I wanted to be in and inspire others to travel. So I've been in travel 6 years, started as a novice consultant. At that time, I hadn't really thought about going into leadership at all, but here we are, and I progressed through to be a team leader of a team in Sydney in Macquarie Park, before crossing over to what some might call the dark side and working in wholesale with the GLOBUS family of brands. So I BDM'd in the West out here for a couple of years, and most recently have just taken on the regional sales title, which has probably been the most exciting role I've been in yet.
Awesome.
Amazing. I'll go next. Hi, my name's Isabel, but everyone calls me Issy. I'm the Business Development Manager, or BDM for short, in New South Wales West, and I work with Lex to look after all of our agent partners in Western New South Wales. To give you a bit of a picture of what it looks like, I like to say it's kind of like the borders of the territory are like a pizza wedge that start from the CBD and go all the way out to the middle of the countryside. So we do a lot of traveling. I've been in the travel industry for just short of 5 years, which have been some of the best years of my life. Like Lex, the travel bug hit me pretty early, and I thought, do what you love and you'll never work a day in your life. As we all know, that's absolutely not true. I feel like everyone in the industry does more work than anyone, but I mean, that's just my opinion. Recently, I've spent quite a number of years working with TTC. Most notably, I spent just short of 2 years as the sales manager for Insight Vacations in New South Wales. And I'm one of the newest recruits to the GLOBUS family of brands sales team starting in January of this year.
Thanks, Issy.
As Josh said, my name's Mitch. I've been in the travel industry now for quite a while. I think it's approaching 15 or 16 years. I did do 12 with Flight Centre, starting as a 20-year-old novice, and I was fortunate enough to have some incredible roles there and work my way up into area leading and then looking after escape travel for Queensland, which is probably when I would have met you, Josh, I think. From there, I thought the time was right to get out and spread my wings. So I did a quick stint with Keith Prowse Travel, and then saw this role advertised after I left there, and have been in this role for almost 12 months now. And it's I don't think I've ever loved the job more. I love doing what I do, and yeah, it's an incredible family of brands and coming to be a part of.
And obviously, as a sales team, or a bunch of reps and regional managers, you guys are super social, like the rest of the industry. Getting out and about to events and coffee catch-ups and store visits, and Mitch taking people out for long boozy lunches and dinners. I may have been involved in one or two. How are you guys coping with that side of things being kind of removed from you at the moment?
Well, I have to say, as a BDM, like you said, our job is pretty much going out there and being social, which is a fantastic job. We're all very, very social people. And the transition from getting out and about, having face-to-face meetings and doing all of these events to staying at home was a bit of a difficult one, if I'm being really honest. It was almost like we were going 100 miles an hour or 100 kilometers an hour if we're using metric, and everything just came to a standstill. So yeah, it took a bit of readjusting, but me personally, I've not been too hard on myself. If I'm having a day where, I'm not really feeling like changing out of my PJs, then, I'll keep working in my PJs. But other than that, I've been really leaning into the hobbies like hard. So you name it, cooking, baking. I've started, hoarding indoor plants. I've got a number of things. Actually, I've got an indoor plant here that I've been working on for a few weeks, which has been great. I'm excited because this one's got a brand new one that's sprouting there. So that's probably been the highlight of my week. But other than that, the odd essential walk, of course, practicing social distancing. Lex, who's on the call, the other day has coined a really good phrase that I think we should be using. Even though it's called social distancing, I'm sure you can all agree that, extroverts everywhere are on the video calls, Zoom, Facebook Messenger chat, you name it. Like, I feel like we're more connected than ever because we have all this amazing technology. So Lex, I'm sure you can go into a bit more detail about it, but we're trying to rebrand it as physical distancing rather than social distancing because it's important to stay connected.
Yeah, I agree. And I'm a bit curious as to how you work on an indoor plant. So working on an indoor plant for weeks, I don't understand what that means. Is it like bonsai, or are you just watering it?
Not that extreme. I'm a bit lazy with them. It's just watering schedule. When they get a bit too big for their pots, then you have to repot them. I'm ashamed to say that I have over 17 in. So if I'm on a repotting spree, that's a good 3-4 hours out of my day just dedicated to fixing them all up.
I admit I have seen an agent. There might not be an agent anymore, but somebody that I'm friends with on social media, and they're similar into their indoor plants, and I think they've turned it into a business. I think they've just gone,
really?
Yeah, bugger it. I've got too many. I've got hundreds. I need to possibly sell some. So there's a market there for
amazing.
it. So
definitely. And do you know what? If you can't go outside, like, bring the outside into you, right?
Absolutely. I'll take your word for it. Hey, Mitch, I might throw this one to you, mate. Obviously, being in your role in more of a national space, what's this time done to the team of sort of BDMs and sales managers out there? What's happening in the GLOBUS world? Have you guys reduced hours or people, or what's that kind of look like for you guys at the moment?
Yeah, mate, definitely. Obviously not easy, not for us, but for everyone. We've definitely reduced hours. So everyone based in Australia is on reduced days. That stages from 4 down, depending on which department they're sitting in. So it definitely has affected us. Thankfully, we have only had really minimal stand downs, which is not a positive, but if you can call it one, I think it is, that we've still got a vast majority of the team together, which I think it's great that when we're talking to all the agents that we're talking to, and our res team are talking to the agents, we can actually relate to them in some way or another. Obviously, some people are affected greatly, or some people aren't affected as much. But I feel with how the business has, adapted through COVID, that we can relate to just about everyone we talk to on some level, which I think is a real positive. If anything, too, I think it's bringing us closer together with our agents and also internally as well. Like, obviously we talk as a sales team at GLOBUS pretty regularly, but I find myself talking to people a lot more that I probably generally wouldn't be on such a regular basis. So if anything, it's sort of making us a little bit stronger and sort of making us a little bit more of a team, which obviously we wouldn't want to have COVID again, or wish we didn't have it in the first place. But I think a positive that we are taking out of it is that it has sort of been a sort of a bit of a team bonding sort of thing. And then obviously that stems into our agency relationships as well, whether it be with trade partners or agents directly, or mobile agents or whatever.
And just on that, I guess Lexi, might throw this one to you, but what are you guys doing at the moment in that kind of reduced capacity to stay connected with the agents and to keep those relationships and the communication lines open, given that the store visits and the regular day-to-day isn't really possible at the moment?
Yeah, absolutely. Look, it has definitely been an adjustment for us, and I suppose what we've had to do and learn how to do is to adapt really well. So quite early on in the piece, we identified that our sales team, working together with our customer service team, are the best people to be at the forefront of this. Our agents for any affected bookings and helping them navigate to find the best solution. I mean, we know how many pages upon pages of policies there are. We don't expect our agents to remember what ours are. So we're there to remind them what they are and also be a listening ear, as I know we have been for many. But on top of that, if I had $1 for every time I heard the word Zoom call, I'd probably have a successful side business starting up right now. But we have adapted in many ways. I mean, Issy at the start of this all actually ran a really successful information session, which goes against everything we know an information session to be over Zoom. We're running training sessions now, and we're looking for ways that we can introduce new product in new ways that we've all had to learn during this period. Over the month of May, it was actually a little bit of a sad month for us because our mega famil was due to go to Brazil and Argentina. So we're all feeling a little bit down, particularly then, but we tried to turn it around and recognise those agents who were so supportive of us in the last year, and we had a good Zoom catch-up call with them. So it was nice to see where they're at this time and let them know that even though we didn't get to go away, we're still thinking of them at that time. So yeah, there's a lot that we're doing behind the scenes. I'd take up the whole call if I kept going.
And you mentioned that obviously agents are calling and you know, you guys are trying to keep them up to date with policies and, you know, how to navigate through things as they move. Mitch, maybe I'll throw this one to you, but is there anything why you've got, you know, possibly 3 or 4 or 11 people watching this video at the moment, hopefully more, but that you can sort of just give us a brief update on what the sort of GLOBUS policy is kind of sitting at the moment, some general ideas or some dates to keep in mind?
Yeah, mate, for sure. Sort of back to where it all started is, so we've been around for 92 years. So GLOBUS itself has been through quite a lot, probably things in varying different degrees. So I think with being around for so long, it brings a couple of things. So I think number one is safe, secure and solvent. So we've been around for a while and we plan on being around for a lot longer as well. But then also with that, you have a hell of a lot of experience. So when COVID hit, we were really fast out of the blocks, which is, I think, something that we're all proud of with our policy. And we haven't changed it since that day that we came out with it. So what it was when we launched it is exactly the same as what it is now. That end post moves a little bit. So obviously, depending on when we withdrew the departure and when we need an outcome, that has just stemmed along. We have just withdrawn July and August, and the cutoff now for an outcome for that of what we need to know whether the customer's cancelling or taking up our peace of mind policy is 1 June. So that's, as Lex mentioned, as a sales team, a customer service team, we're all on the front foot calling our agents and whoever's got an effective booking. But you don't have to wait for us to call. You know, if you've got a booking with us, feel free to call up and customer service will talk you through it or talk to your BDM and they'll do it as well. But I think one of the big things that we're really proud of is that from the start, we came out with comp protection. So if the booking was paid in full and the customer took the peace of mind policy, they got a further discount on their next trip. And we also protected their commission as well. So it was a real win for the agent and I guess the partner who they're corresponded with. And we feel that gave us a lot of traction early. And early on in the piece, everyone was going into credit and it was very few cancellations, which was really great. And that's continued, probably not at the same level, but still really, really strong. And yeah, something we're really proud of as well.
Awesome. I know the agents out there would be very appreciative of that, the protecting of the commission side of things as well, because, you know, that's been such a challenging time for a lot of people out there, especially the sole traders and the guys that are relying on that as pretty much their sole income. So that's great. And also great that it's, you know, stayed the same and been clear and hasn't moved too much, as you said, just the goalposts of those dates, which is really easy to understand. Now, I guess, you know, like a lot of people and businesses and companies out there at the moment, you know, everyone's using this time to not only do the day-to-day stuff that they have to deal with, but also trying to think about the future and, you know, reinventing themselves or, you know, cleaning out the garage in a sense, all those jobs that you've been putting off or something that you want to implement moving forward. What's that kind of looking like in the GLOBUS world? What are you guys working on at the moment? What's the future, you know, plans look like? 2021, new destinations, new products. What can we get excited about?
I'm happy to take this one. Just touching back on what I was talking about before, I can say hand on heart that we are really excited to get back out on the road and start seeing people face to face. I know that restrictions are, you know, changing every day or they're being reduced, and we're not quite sure what things look like in the short term because everything is so fluid at the moment. but rest assured, I'm running out of hobbies. I'm keen to get out and start talking to people again. I really miss seeing everyone face to face, and I'm sure Mitch and Lex feel the same way. While we've been calling out all of our agents and touching base, we've actually had quite a lot in the works, and we laid down some groundwork pretty early on to make sure that we were prepared for another great Lex term here, life after COVID, or LAC. So what we've done is back in February, if you can remember that far back, our Europe preview brochure was launched, which covered 80% of brochure departures available to be for 2021. Another thing that's coming that we're really excited about is our Avalon launches. Now, granted, they're not going to be the same as what they were before. They will have a very different face, but we're thrilled to be putting forward some really exciting events, and we hope that you guys can get excited about them as well. Another sneak preview that we'd like to give you, we don't want to go into too much detail, but we are looking at domestic Australia and New Zealand product as well, so stay tuned on that front. But one of the biggest things that GLOBUS family of brands have done is to look at all of our existing practices and find ways to make them more safe and secure, like Mitch was saying before. On the 11th of May, we released our Avalon Assurance, which was just basically a revision of all of the safety procedures that we have on board our ships. So with our Welcome Aboard program, or our embarkation, we're now introducing social distancing, or physical distancing, I should say, and we will have a no-touch temperature read by a thermometer. Another great thing about our assurance program is we really highlight our unique selling points, like our open air windows, which really provide a lot more ventilation than standard cruise ships. So we've released our Avalon Assurance to make sure that clients or guests and agents feel confident booking with us. Another thing that we've done is we've extended this over to our coach product, or our land product, with our on-trip assurance. So you can find all of that information online. And yeah, I think that's pretty much everything that we've been doing to get ready for when we're back on the road and we're back in life LACV.
And I think it's important that the agents understand, and everybody understands, that it's all fantastic to talk about new products and inspirational destinations and those sorts of things. But I guess a big key to a lot of this will come down to the confidence in the traveller in the product. Is that safe and secure, or health security is another trending word that's getting around at the moment. So I think it's really important that agents understand that, you know, your job as an agent is to understand, you know, what your customer's looking for and what they're seeking, to understand about the product that you're necessarily going to recommend or they're wanting to do. And I think to gain that confidence, being on top of the health security side of things is going to be just as important as the fact that, you know, the beds on Avalon face a certain direction so that you can, you know, see more. I remember that from being an agent.
Well done, you've done your training.
Yeah. So, but you know what I mean? That were the things, that were the CVPs, I guess, that we used to think about, or USPs, whichever way you want to look at it. And that would get you, you know, that confidence to sell a product to a customer and match that right product to the right customer. But just in the same conversation now, that the health security, the contactless thermometer screening and those sorts of things will be a key part of giving confidence to want to book a product, just as the inspirational side of stuff. So, you know, my advice, if anybody wants to listen, is to really research or get versed in that side of any product just as much as the you know, sideways facing bed, if that makes sense. Anything else from a global side of things you guys want to add before we kind of sign off with the tips and tricks or the advice nuggets that we kind of ask for at the end of these Zooms? Is there anything we've missed?
I just think so. I think that we've mentioned a few times that constant contact with our agents has been really strong. We do play contact sport, so the more people we contact, the better we do. And I think not just us at GLOBUS, but I think the greater industry are seeing rewards from that, or will see them in the future with keeping that contact up and present.
Yeah. So, all right. So, what should we be doing? What's your advice? Indoor planting, or you know, yoga, Pilates, drink more, drink less? upskill, LinkedIn learning? What do you guys think? What's your advice for the agents today?
I did move the wine bottle out of shot for this video today, just FYI. But look,
that went.
yeah. So I think it's not very often that we get a moment like this to just stop and pause and actually reflect on what life was like, what our businesses were like in the lead up to COVID. There's not a lot of time that we get to spend reflecting on what could be done better, what's working well, what's not working well at all. So I think that if you can take that time to just sit and reflect in a business capacity, but also on a personal level, so that when we do come out of this, you can almost reshape effectively how we do things moving forward.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. And I heard somebody the other day, or maybe there was a post on social media that was, people kind of talking about, the year that they've lost, or they're kind of, they're wasting a year. What was the point of 2020? Or, so glad I turned 35 because, I'm going to be 36 before you know it, or something like that. And look, I get that for a lot of people. But, those years that just seem to roll into the next one and into the next one, and all of a sudden it's Christmas again, because we are so busy. We are going 100 miles an hour, another week, another weekend, another month, another season. We've never had that opportunity to stop and pause, like you said. This could be the most productive year that any of us ever have, because of the stuff that we're going to be doing or getting done or working on or figuring out. Because, if you look back at, sometimes 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, and you go, what did I actually do? It just went from Christmas to Easter to Christmas again. So I've really, enjoyed actually that pause side of things and figuring out what I want to do, or what could I be doing, or what's working or what's not working. So yeah, I agree with that one. You don't have to be super productive, but why not? What else are you going to do?
No. Like Issy said, there's nothing wrong with spending a day in pajamas if that's what you feel like doing. But yeah, it's important to make the most of this time as well.
And now we haven't really had a chance to do that either. I remember in my flats in the team leader days, we used to offer doona days. It was like, don't call me up pretending that you're sick. Just be honest and just say, I need a day in bed in my jammies with a doona. And you got one a year, you just call it. Now you can have as many as you want. Just have them. Why not?
Back to back.
Back to back. Have a week of doonas if you need to. No one can judge you. No one can judge you. Hey guys, I think we might leave it there, but that's for me. There's been a lot of value in that from what you guys have got going. GLOBUS sounds like you're all over it, and as a company, staying really strong through this period, and you've got a range of products all across the family, and agents know and trust that their customers are safe with you guys, and it's important that agents stay abreast of what you're up to and what you're doing. But I personally feel a massive amount of confidence that you guys are going to be here on the other side, and a really good option for the traveling community out there. So thank you for your time, and we look forward to catching up on the other side in real life, in person, and maybe a cheeky boozy lunch here or there, Mitch, if we get a chance, mate.
Maybe, mate.
Maybe. But enjoy the time, and we'll look forward to catching up on the other side.
Brilliant. Thanks for having us.
Thanks, mate. Appreciate it.
All right. Thanks,
Thank
guys.
you, Josh.
Cheers. See ya.